Hi, this is Ashio, and today we're going to talk about Little Miss P. And if you're not aware of it, this is published by Yen Press, and this is a manga about people who have periods. So I'm not a person who's ever experienced a period, and I'm not a person who ever will. However, I went out and I actually asked people who have periods, and I'm like, oh, have a look at this manga. What are your thoughts? What did you think? And they're like, yeah, it's about right. So judging on that, my observations kind of match what goes in the manga, and that kind of matches what people who actually do have periods think as well. So I'm kind of in the right area, and obviously if you're someone who has periods yourself, you're going to have a different insight, but if you don't, it's kind of important. You kind of need to see what goes in something like this as well. It is funny. It is really funny actually, and it kind of deals with issues like, yeah, having a period once a month in quite frank detail, not detail, but we'll get into it. So Little Miss P is basically the embodiment of when someone has their period. So there'll be a woman, she's just going about her every day, and she's got like a deadline for her work, for example. She's just like, oh yeah, I just need to do 3 more paragraphs and then I'm good, but I'm having a bit of, you know, like writer's block or something like this. There'll be a knock at the door. Little Miss P is in the house and they're like, oh god, can you wait? And they're like, sorry, no can do, buckle up, because here we go. Little Miss P, she violent. And she'll crack her knuckles and she'll just punch. She has a period punch and she'll just smash that person through. And yeah, and that's basically it. There's lots of different chapters. Each one focuses on a different person in a different situation. Little Miss P shows up. Sometimes it's something someone can deal with. Sometimes it's a heavy period. Sometimes it's a light period. It's not really a subject that comes up a lot in any media, let alone manga. And it's dealt with in a really easy to navigate, funny, entertaining way. If you're not comfortable with the idea of a woman getting punched in the womb, then imagine what it's like having a period. So it kind of tries to deal with both sides of the story. So in one chapter, a woman swaps bodies with a man. So the man, he has the period. It's not just Little Miss P who's around. You've also got Mr. Libido. And I'm not quite sure you should weigh those up as being the same thing. But they both suffer and they both kind of learn how each other has their own different circumstances that need to be handled in a certain way. And there's also Mr. Virgin. He's kind of knocking around a little bit as well. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's kind of like, it's a fact of life. And it is funny. If Little Miss P is coming at you with a syringe because she's going to draw blood and make you feel like shit, then this is what we're going to see. The art style is really blunt and crude. Like the cover is kind of like an idea of how it goes. It's very loose. I'm not even sure how much sketch work is done beforehand on some of these drawings. It's a little bit rough all over the place. But it's just got this directness with this thing, because you can't dance around this kind of subject. So another chapter, there's an older woman, and she turns to Little Miss P and she's like, oh, I've not seen you much lately. And it's their final farewell because she's hit her menopause kind of thing. And again, it's coming to the whole, because there's such a lack of engagement with this issue in any form of entertainment, it's like, how do you deal with that? There is a lot of humour, but there's also a lot of like melancholy, because a lot of people, it's kind of like, it's who they are. And it's how they've had to live their entire lives. And having like once a month, 12 times a year, there's this situation that you just have to deal with, and sometimes it sucks, but there's no getting around it, and it's just is what it is. And also because there's lack of familiarity of these kinds of subjects in media, it also means that I don't really know how to handle it. I don't really know how to discuss it in a way that's kind of like, not so much like whether it offends people or not, but it's more like, how do you talk about this in an open, regular way? And it's pure entertainment. It is funny. Also, recently, where are we? We have got Volume 2. Volume 2 just came out. It's called The Second Day. And it's not quite more of the same. Some of the other short stories in here, they kind of have short stories, and Little Miss P's kind of like a side character, which is a little bit odd. But it's still funny. If you want more, then get more. Like one of the stories in here, there's a zombie outbreak, and what are you going to do if you run out of pads in the middle of a zombie outbreak? You're trying to get these headshots, but obviously you've got a little bit of issue downstairs. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm not sure if it's like a guilty laughter or if I'm just genuinely enjoying it, because it is unusual and it's not really something you come across that much. But honestly, I mean, look at his face. It's just the most ridiculous character design. If you like short form comedy manga, it doesn't matter who you are. I think there's something to enjoy here for basically every kind of audience. Obviously, some people will be uncomfortable with the subject matter, but that's kind of half the point of why this manga even exists. It's good to be aware, it's good to know what's going on, and sometimes it's just good to have a little bit of sympathy for the people around you and understand that everybody has their own individual circumstance that needs to be sometimes considered. And that's Little Miss P basically. It's crude, it's blunt, it's frank, it's funny. And yeah, I recommend it. I had a lot of fun with it. And I don't know if there's going to be a third volume. Yeah, volume 2 did just come out, and I think it's fairly new, so maybe there'll be more in the future. But for now, it's just these 2 books. I hope you found it interesting, and I think it's worth your consideration. This is Usho signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time.